All right, we're back again with another video of Fit Your Marketing. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
Doing excellent, doing excellent. Yes, sir. And I thought maybe an interesting topic this week is how to attract better clients, or like we all want really great clients, people that are easy and fun to work with, people that obviously have the financial um, resources to be able to work with you, people that have real expectations and kind of understand how things work. So how can people do that in their businesses?
Yeah, so when you think about how to get better clients, it first starts with understanding and knowing who those clients are. So typically, like the lazy marketer way is to go, I want to talk to people who have money, right? Which is who everyone wants to talk to. People have money so they can spend it on whatever it is you're selling, which would make life a lot easier. And it's possible to reach those people. But what you have to do is you have to understand uh, deeply, what do these people like to do? What do they like to read? What do they fear? Where do they want to go in life? And you need to know them like better than the back of your hand. And that's where I believe it starts. I think people try to rush through the research process of like, who is it that we're actually trying to speak to? And when you rush through that, you end up having kind of very generalized, vague messages that don't hit. Because at the end of the day, it is about messaging. But if you take one step back, if you don't know who you're trying to talk to, then your messaging is never going to hit anyways. So you have to actually know who before you actually nail the messaging part. And it looks like, AJ, it looks like your mic isn't on.
There we go.
There we go.
You got me now? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, I was saying that's a good point, and I think that a lot of times marketing, there are a lot of marketers that just do like surface level marketing, right? Like you said, like the lazy marketer. But there are these things that are going on in people's heads at any given time that are things that they would never say out loud, things that they
Yep.
would never admit to anyone. And if you can figure out what those things are, like those deep down buried beliefs are that these people have, and you could speak to them at that level, that's when you attract the exact person that you want. And that's when they actually believe you can help them, because you're not just talking about, I'll help you make more money or I'll help you lose some weight, but you're talking about that, hey, if you failed 5,000 times, I understand because I did the same thing, and I'm going to help you overcome that, and now they feel like you understand them and you get them, but a lot
Yep.
of people don't take the time to do that.
That's a great point. The other thing you could do is talk to people who either, if you already have them as clients, talk to them and interview them. Or if you don't already have them, find the person that you think would be great to work with and interview that person. And you want to study their behaviors. And one thing that really like stands out when you're doing research is you want to go as deep as you possibly can. So you even want to know like how many kids do they have? Where do their kids go to school? Where do they tend to work? And then you want to know, well, if they tend to work in a certain industry, what are the beliefs of the typical person in that industry? What is the information that is being transferred back and forth between their industry? What is the media telling them that their industry should be doing? Like, you want to know everything. You want to know what clients annoy them, what clients make them happy. You want to know the full spectrum of like how I can make this person feel like when I show up, it's like magical. Somehow I showed up and I'm saying the exact words and messaging to the person that wants to work with you, where they should say something like this. And I've actually had someone say this to me recently, which is, man, it's like I needed you and you just magically appeared. And it's because the messaging was dialed in, right? Because I had an understanding of what challenge he was going through and what his industry is going through. So then I was able to communicate effectively. But if you don't know that, you won't be able to say what needs to be said for them to actually react in that manner. And so that's I like that whole understanding part, because you first need to, what is it? What's the quote? You first need to seek to understand before trying to be understood or something like that.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of times we're so busy as business owners trying to push down the throat of our customers of like why we're the best that we don't take the time, the counterintuitive approach to like ask questions and sit back and go, well, what do they want? And then let me give them what they want, which it should be very easy. But, in practice, it sometimes can be difficult.
Yeah, and a lot of times we want people to feel connected to us, but I think what we got to spend more time doing is finding ways to connect with other people.
Yep.
And it's easy when you look at big brands, you look at like an Apple or a Starbucks or whatever, to say, "Oh, maybe ma- people should just love my brand because of X, Y, and Z, because of how cool we are." But the reality is, you got to find a way to make people feel connected, and then once they feel connected, then you can build that bigger brand that people actually have pride that they're working with you and that you're the company that they go with. But until they feel that connection, until they know that you actually have their best interest in mind, you're spinning your wheels. There's no such thing as
Yep.
just branding for the sake of branding, right?
Well, and the other thing too is, branding takes a very long time, right? It could be expensive, and you have to know exactly what you want your brand to be and define it before you start even thinking of branding. And the reason is because people need to see the same messaging over and over and over again before they associate whatever it is your business is with a brand. And so you need to choose wisely, because if you choose the wrong message, it's tough to pivot and rebrand because it's going to be more expensive. And sometimes you don't lose all that momentum, but it definitely slows it down. Right. And I think when you're trying to get better clients, you do have to think about, what do I need to be known for? Right. What does the market need to know me and my business and the people who work with me? What do we need to be known as? So that immediately when someone thinks of whatever industry you're in, real estate, marketing, promotions, building cars, whatever, they think of you, right? And so you have to have this approach of, what I do today will make me money 12 months from now.
Mhm.
And I need to be consistent and do it each and every day. And that's how you get better clients, because guess what? Better clients want to work with the best. They want to work with someone who's consistent. They want to work with someone that will take care of them and understands, you know, how to be more productive and how to keep your word when you say you're going to do something, right? And so, as better clients look at your stuff, if you're someone that never puts out content, doesn't show any type of value, always has a me first attitude where you're not actually trying to help the client, but what's in it for me, everything needs to be convenient for my time, then what that demonstrates is the better clients are going to be kind of off put by that, right? And so they're also looking at your business as, is this someone who takes their business seriously, their craft seriously, or is this someone that just wants to take my money, right? Because there's plenty
Yeah.
of those out there where it's like, yeah, this business is doing very subpar work and they're not showing any demonstration of being good, right? Or not even average, because they're not showing me anything, which is a problem that I see a lot of businesses have, is they underinvest in content marketing and putting things out that could actually, my favorite phrase that you always say from Frank Kern, helping people by actually helping people. I don't think I could ever get sick of that phrase because it's so simple yet so powerful.
Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned made me think about the fact that a lot of times in business, I think that people feel like they have to impress others, right? They feel like they have to, have the most bold statement and the
Yep.
biggest, most outlandish claims, because that's what marketers do, and that's what businesses feel like they have to do. But you said something key is consistency,
Yep.
and there's that old phrase, "Easy come, easy go." And a lot of times it's like that with clients. So if you have a client that just, called you right out of the blue, it was their first
Yep.
time ever seeing your ad, they're like, "Hey, I need this, call me
Yep.
right away." Well, you know what that client's probably going to do? They're probably going to leave pretty quickly,
Yep.
right? Because they don't understand how to grow something, how to actually
Yep.
invest and make it happen. And so it's kind of the same thing. You want those people that actually consume a lot of your stuff and know what they're getting themselves into,
Yep.
because those are the people that'll stick because they understand the strategy, they
Yep.
understand the bigger picture.
They're also very, a lot more analytical, right? And so when you think about uh, people that, when you're going after clients that have more money, right? That tends to be what I hear from clients when they reach out. Yeah, I don't want to have people that don't have are broke or don't have any money, right? Well, what that means for them is, well, are you communicating that that's who you serve, right? Are you branded in the way where people who make a lot of money are smart, right?
Yep.
And they do research and they take longer to make decisions. They're not impulse decision makers. So you need to act accordingly. You need to build systems in place that allow these people with money to consume your stuff and to research what you're doing and to think about, does this make sense for me to invest whatever product or service that you're providing? Right? These are all questions that they don't make impulse decisions to just say, "Oh yeah, that looks cool. I'll take him for his word and I'll just go ahead and sign up right away." Right?
Yeah.
They need to know, like, if I'm going to give you, especially if it's a good amount of money, they want to know it's being taken care of, right? They want to know this is a smart investment, that they're not going to look foolish to their other high income friends for investing in whatever it is that you have, right? These are things you got to think about. And I think when you can't market to that audience, if you're trying to do impulsive things, right? Where it's like, you got to make a decision today. You got to do this right this second. That doesn't work. That doesn't work with someone who um, has higher income, has success in their life, because they don't operate that way. They think things through.
Yeah, and the other thing that happens when you do try to sell people too quickly or you try to push people too quickly is there is a real thing that's called buyer's remorse.
Absolutely.
And I see a lot of these high pressure sales, tactics that are taught, and oh, put a deadline, even though it's bull crap.
Yep.
Make people think there's only five left when there's a million, right? And all these
Yep.
things. But the reality is, when you push people with pressure, uh, and then they have time to think about it, a lot of times they'll actually be pissed off at you
Yep.
for using those tactics against them. Now, yeah, I
Yep.
agree. You have to, give people a reason to take action because of human inertia, but you don't have to be false about it, right? You just
Right.
have to, make it real. Like, why is this really important for the person you're trying to reach right now? And if you don't
Yep.
have a reason, then that means that there's a reason why you're not selling enough, right?
Yep.
Because you don't have an urgent enough, service that people actually want and need.
Well, the other thing too you got to keep in mind is um, selling through value, right? So selling through value is a technique that, if you can get good at it, you'll be able to get clients where it's a win-win. It feels like a win-win, and you're essentially attracting them to want to buy from you, right? Attraction selling, which is a lot different than push selling
Yeah.
or manipulation selling or doing tactics that make the customer not feel so great. And we've all had them done to us, right? Where you buy some and then you just feel like, man, that guy got me, right? He
Yeah.
got me, or that gal got me. And I think if you focus more on value-based selling, which when you first hear that, it's value-based selling means, once again, helping them because they need help, right? Just giving them the actual tips. One of my favorite ways to get better clients is to demonstrate what I will actually do for them before they even, without even asking them to buy anything.
Yep.
Just saying, "Hey, look, I looked at your stuff. I think if you did this, if you did this, I'll actually set up for you if you want." You make it nice and easy. You give them convenience, because what that also builds is trust. They start to actually feel what it's like to work with you, and they also see that you have a helpful heart, a helpful mind that is being genuine. Because if it was only about what can I get, then you would never spend any time giving away your time for free, because you'd be too worried about what you're going to get in return. And the other person can sense that. But if you just go, "Yeah, here it is. I think it'll work. Let me know if you ever need help setting it up." They tend to want to go, "Well, hold on a second. You showed me how to do this and I like how you did this." And another thing, they always appreciate when you give value and you don't oversell,
Yep.
right? They always appreciate that because then they actually can feel comfortable. Because
Yep.
remember, people who are making more money, the golden clients that everyone wants, most people are chasing them, right?
Exactly.
So they're constantly being chased with, "Hey, you got a lot of money. How do I get your money into my pocket? Here's my product. Here's my service," right? And people are they're being fed these stories and lines of we can do this and we can do that. And usually, if you put yourself in the customer's shoes, imagine having to walk around all day long, knowing that everyone's intent is trying to get your money, right? It doesn't feel
Yep.
very good. So the way to be unique and to stand out to this audience is to do the opposite. Just give them the value, and it's so simple, but it's gonna stand out. Then they're gonna end up saying, "I'd rather work with you because then I don't have to constantly worry about you asking me for more money."
Yeah, I think it's spot on. I think it's spot on. And the funny thing is, the what you when I look at when we look at nature, I'm a big believer in like Ray Dalio principles,
Yeah.
and he talks about, if you ever want to know how things work, just look to nature. And if
Yep.
you look at nature, and when things are being chased, say a lion is chasing a deer or whatever, what is that gazelle going to do? Run, right?
Yep.
Things that are being chased run. And so it's the same thing in business, is like you got to find a way to attract instead of
Yep.
chase. And when you switch that whole frame on its head is when things start to change.
Well, attraction, when we talk about attraction marketing, most business owners, um, it's one of those things where conceptually they get it and understand it, right? Very hard to execute. And there's one word, why? Faith, right? You have to have faith that this method will work and you have to give it time, right? And that's what no one wants to hear, but that's the way to do it. And anyone who has these great clients, that's what they do. That's how they got them. They just are able to stomach and have the discipline to keep doing the things that you need to do to earn the trust of the good clients, right? The people that you want to be a part of your business. So when you talk about attraction marketing, if you want to attract them, you have to do the counterintuitive thing, which is whatever your baby is, right? Whatever that is, the secret sauce that you have or the secret formula, you got to give it away. You got to give it away because if you don't allow them to see it or experience it, it just sounds like another made up sales pitch where it's
Yep.
like, "Oh yeah, of course you can make me more money. Of course you can fix my car in 2 seconds. Of course you can help me lose 100 pounds in 5 days." That you're supposed to say that, right?
Yep.
But instead, what you do is you just demonstrate how you would do it. And you say, give it a try. And then if you have questions, let me know. And you're keeping things very open. And that's the thing where I feel like sales strategies and tactics, you have to sell different audiences in a different way. And if
Yep.
you want kind of the higher income audience, they don't want to be talked to in a high pressure, condescending, I'm speaking down to you, using guilt and pressure and manipulation to make them buy. They don't like that, nor do they respect it, right? So you don't want to use those philosophies. Instead, you want to use kind of a collaboration communication, right? Where we're doing this as a team. Together, we're gonna figure this out and give them the what is it? The is it the four seasons? The four seasons
Yeah.
treatment? Where they feel and you should feel good about it, where you're giving them a fantastic experience and they feel like, man, this company's different. They make me feel different. Therefore, they will buy from you.
You reminded me of one of your experiences you told me about. So I ate at this place one time called Momofuku
Oh,
with
got that big shout out Momofuku, free advertising. That is the best restaurant in my personal favorite. But anyways, keep going.
yeah. So no, I had the chance to eat there one time for a pretty cool event with Dwayne Wade's agent, the guy that
Okay,
represents
yeah.
Dwayne Wade and a bunch of these guys. And it was a fantastic experience, fantastic meal, everything. But then you told me a couple months ago, you went down to Vegas and you went the first day and it was just impeccable service.
Oh,
The guy, yeah, just and those are the things that I think get lost in the sauce and that
yep.
create a great experience. And then, if you want to share people what you did after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, I have so normally I've got like a rule, right? Because I believe in business karma and putting good energy out there. So normally, I'm a 20% tipper, right? No matter if you do good or bad. Like I believe, hey, everyone's trying the best they can, and if they're not, one day they will. But with them, they're the only place where I will actually tip higher, 30%, 35%. And remember, this place is not cheap. This is not like a little fast food restaurant. The price points are high, but I feel good about in my mind investing the money in this company because what they're doing is I'm not there just for great food, right? I'm there for the overall experience of feeling like I matter, right? And that's something that you really have to utilize and think about when you're trying to position your business. Are you making your customers and your prospects feel like they matter? Like whatever you're doing is unique to them, right? And we're not talking about fake, fake attitude, fake, yeah, I care about you, but you don't do anything. I'm talking about genuine, what can I do to make my customers feel like they matter to me? Because if you make them feel like they matter, you that's where you start building loyal customer base and you start getting a lot of referrals. See, because they got marketing from me. You remember this story I told you, and it's
Exactly.
free marketing for them because I was so impressed with how they treated me.
Yeah, I had experiences like that in my life, and I think one of the things that people sometimes ignore when you need money, because I think one of the real challenges in business is when you're struggling, right? And
Yes.
when or when you're just starting, right? So maybe
Yep.
you've had successful businesses in the past, and now you're starting a new one, but it's a different industry, a different
Yep.
beast, a different animal. You
Success
know,
doesn't just automatically carry over. You Everyone starts from zero again.
Exactly, exactly. So when people are in those situations, I think there's a tendency to feel like this pressure and this urgency.
Yep.
But if you can focus on delivering a great experience and focus on connecting with the people that you want to reach and really being able to explain things really well in a well thought out way where people
Yep.
understand and they're not confused by you or what makes you different or any of those things. If you can focus your time and effort on that, then what we do on the advertising side just is an amplification.
Yep.
It's just putting gasoline on the fire. But if you don't take the time to do those things, marketing isn't magic.
Yep.
It seems like it sometimes, but it's not. It's a process.
Well, what's funny is I like that. Marketing isn't magic because a lot of times marketers do a good job of making it sound like it is, right? We're all a bunch of magicians. But one of the things that I try to explain to clients is, you know, you have to test things out. This is an unsexy process. This is usually the reason why people don't have better marketing is because they're unwilling to do this part, which is you have to test. You have to test headlines, ad hooks, ad copy, offers, who you're targeting, your customer avatar. And then on top of that, you need to invest your precious time. You need to invest money. Usually, as you're trying to figure this out, you're burning through money. And so these are all things that are uncomfortable for most people to do. And what you have to do is talk yourself into if I just stick it out and keep working my system and I stay consistent, it will work. And once again, it goes back to faith, right? And you make a good point of a lot of times it's easy, right? It's and I've seen this before where you see like a multi-millionaire on TV or billionaire and they tell you what's the advice to being successful and they give you like yeah just be relaxed and have a positive mindset. And when you hear that, when you're not, you're like, yeah, easy for him to say because he has $1 billion in the bank, right?
Yep.
But if you actually do take that advice, this is all a mental game. See, when you first start, and let's say you don't have those clients yet, when you first start, you have to invest aggressively into building your infrastructure and your marketing messages to get the results that you want. And essentially, what I'm saying is you have to be willing to lower your lifestyle a little bit to invest in your people, which is your customers, right? So you have to live very selfless in its very beginning stages. And yes, it is tough, but just like anything else, if you don't make that investment, the time is going to pass anyways. And
Yep.
1 year is going to go by and you go, man, I wish I invested that money previously. Or even worse, that time's going to go by, nothing is going to happen. And then you're just going to basically be in the same spot and you've just wasted 12 months. What I have found is if you're in a tight spot, you need to change the hardest part about it all is your scarcity thinking. Your customers, okay, here's like the part that is really hard to digest. Think about this. Do you love when you are approached by someone who's homeless?
No.
Right? And why not? Why not?
It's for lack of a better term, it's like a turnoff. It's like a, you know, it doesn't feel good.
Now, I remember hearing this. Now, if that person who's homeless approaches you and says, "Hey, can I get $1?" Which is essentially what we're doing as business owners, right? We're approaching strangers and asking them to exchange money with us. If
Yep.
he asks you for $1, what do you say?
Depends on the mood I'm in, but it's either here's $1 or no, I'm good, and just
But
walk away.
you feel kind of funny, right?
Yeah.
Now, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with homeless people, and this is not to go against them. All I'm trying to do is demonstrate a point. Now, if a guy in a suit walked up to you and he just got out of a Ferrari and asked you for $1, how do you feel then?
No problem. Here you go. You need 20?
Why?
Because you feel like they're a person of value.
Bingo, right? So
Yeah.
here's the part that is tricky when you're trying to get the good customers, but you're thinking similar to someone who's homeless. Scarcity, right? You're in survival mode. So your communication style is going to be that. Therefore, you are the homeless person talking to the individual trying to get $1. Does that make sense? So your first job is to get yourself to do the same activity, but be the man in the suit or be the woman in the nice dress coming out of the car saying, "Hey, can we exchange value here?" You'll communicate better and you'll actually get better results. And so, to simplify what I'm saying, you have to think prosperous in order to get the prosperous client. And the mind trick here is when you're living like you have to really sell yourself out of that mindset, right? Which is why I always tell people invest heavier during the scarcity times because it's conveying a message that you believe it's going to come back. So it's kind of changing how you're communicating and what you believe when you're giving your sales pitches to that audience.
Yeah, I think that's powerful, and the mental game is something that I think a lot of people don't realize the value of, especially in business and in sales and all of those things. Where, it's like you could have the best looking person in the world, but if they have no confidence, people won't be as magnetic to them as
Yep.
if they exude the confidence that their exterior portrays, right? So it's the same thing with your businesses. You can have the best business in the world that can get people incredible results, but if you're not able to display that confidence and relay that in everything that you do, right, in your videos and your messaging and your branding and your communication and your emails and your text messages, if you're not able to communicate that, then people aren't going to know. They're going to say, "Yeah, it looks, but I just can't tell." And then they're a scared prospect or a confused prospect doesn't buy.
Yep. And you go back to the point of, okay, what can you do to solve this, especially if you're maybe in early stages or trying to transition to getting a different type of a customer, right? And the way to solve this is number one, to commit that you're going to solve this problem, right? And then number two is you're going to go ahead and start thinking about what does this person, you have to look at it through the lens of the target customer. What does this person need to see in order for them to believe that I'm the right solution for them, right? What do they need to see? Because we all need to see something, no matter what we buy, right? If it's sports apparel, if it's, health product, if it's beauty product, right? You want to see, what do I need to see in order to make a buying decision? And then think about, if I'm that customer, what do I need to not see? Might be even more important, right? How is your business conducting itself? It reminds me of a story of one time I had a guy I had a guy that wanted to sell me a house years ago, right? And he's like, "Yeah, there's this and there's that, and you have to look out for this and that." And when he showed up to the appointment, he showed up late. He showed up not dressed for success. So that's communicating to me like he's not taking this serious, and or he doesn't view me very serious. And then he came to the appointment with a car that was broken down, not washed, not taken care of. And it's not about you need like a Ferrari to show it to your appointments. It's what does that message convey, right? It could be an older car, but if it's nice and clean and organized, then you have that trust of like, okay, this person values organization. So they're
Yep.
probably going to take care of me, right? And the same with presentation. It's do I feel, when you see someone that shows up to an appointment late, and then on top of it, they're dressed not for success, and then all of their surroundings are disorganized, as the prospect, it makes you feel like, am I not worthy enough to at least get someone to show up on time and to treat my appointment as if it's just as important as if he was going to meet with the millionaire down the street? That's why I go back to, you need to treat your customers like they matter, all of them, because they do, right? They pay your bills. And so
Yep.
you do have to treat them with respect. And so that's kind of something to keep in mind is, how are you showing up? How are you presenting yourself to your customers at their appointments, when they go to wash their car, when they go to sit down at a coffee shop with you, when they go out to dinner to meet? How are you presenting yourself to them? And are you communicating, I respect and value you?
Love it. Love it. I think that may be a good point to end on because I think it sums up everything we talked about. Uh, Value your customers and treat them like, you would treat the millionaire next door. And if you do that, you'll start to see things change 100%.
Yep, I 100% agree. And I think if every business owner takes this approach and focuses on providing value and not a me first, but my customer first mentality, they'll have a much easier time getting the better clients, which basically means the clients who have the money.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well, appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this, go to fityourmarketing.com. You guys can see more about us, what we do, who we help, and book a call. And yeah, we'll talk to you on the next one.
See you guys.